My authority in the Death Fleet is now under my command. I will use them both to avenge Amon's betrayal.
Do your people believe in this cause, as you do?
What they believe is of little consequence. What matters is that they obey.
You choose to rule differently than I, Alarak. Despite this, we may not only end the violence between our kind, but forge a powerful alliance.
Can we now? My people are vastly different than yours, Hierarch.
We both desire vengeance, and we are both Protoss. Is that not enough?
Very well. Submit to my absolute authority, and we may indeed unite our forces.
Do not test me, Tal'Darim. Amon is a mighty foe. Your people cannot hope to stand alone against him. You will side with me, and together we will send him back to the abyss.
So you do understand my culture after all. Let us say that for now, we have struck another bargain.
And welcome back, StarCraft 2, Legacy of the Void.
Hierarch, I have powered up a new ship subsystem. You can review it in the solar core now.
And this is episode 14, Templar's Charge, getting underway. Let's check out these new solar core upgrades. Okay, in this new column, like the third column, is all passive abilities. So we'll start with the bottom. Matrix Overload. Friendly units near a pylon get a bonus to attack speed and movement speed. It's actually pretty good, but I never use it because I use one of these other ones. Guardian Shell. Friendly units that take fatal damage are invulnerable for 5 seconds. That effect can only occur once every 60 seconds. That's amazing. And then Reconstruction Beam. Friendly mechanical units and buildings are healed over time, and the Spear of Adun can heal up to 3 units or structures at a time. That's not as good as it sounds, but it's still pretty awesome, and I actually do use it in certain missions, including this next one coming up. So we're going to go ahead and do Reconstruction Beam. And you see me kind of take Orbital Assimilator and then not take it. Ultimately, I don't take it because I don't have enough Solarite to get everything I really want. But I definitely want Solar Lance. And I really want Shield Overcharge, so that's why I ultimately get rid of Orbital Assimilators. Because you actually don't really need it on this next mission. And then with the XS-15, we put it into bonus starting supply. So that's just how we're going to do this next mission.
Do not think what has happened here will spare Alarak from my watchful eye.
I did not expect it to.
If he dares to betray us or takes any action against you, I promise his blood will coat these corridors.
Good. That is what I am counting on.
Artanis, you should know my fear of the Tal'Darim is not of them now, but what becomes of them if Amon is defeated.
You fear they will never integrate with our society.
They share our blood, but they are not like us. You know in your heart that may never change.
It is true. A great battle may loom on the horizon ahead of us, but it's a risk we must take.
It is a great risk.
The dawn of a unified Protoss requires much. Like the threads of a cloth, we must come together and be stronger because of it.
To think what we become with their culture influencing us, changing us.
Yes, we will be changed. And perhaps that is what you fear more than battle. The path ahead is uncharted, Matriarch.
Amon's presence within the Kala grows stronger. He is becoming harder to resist.
You risk much for this, Rohana.
He believes all suffering, all conflict, results from the Xel'Naga's infinite cycle. That it must end.
Yes, he has made this clear.
But you see only the surface. Underneath, a silent hatred roils within him. A prideful resentment that would see all worlds burn. The hybrid are the true face of Amon. He wishes not only for the Xel'Naga's creations to be set aside, but for them to suffer.
Okay, we're going to put off doing our units for now because we're about to travel.
Have the Tal'Darim accepted the truth of Amon's betrayal?
Some have. Others dare not question my commands.
None wish to declare Rakshir upon you.
Let them. No one can stand in the way of my vengeance. This grows tiring. We have done what we came to do. Set course for Ire, and let us bring this war to Amon.
Do not dare give me orders, Alarak. We will return to Ire only when I believe the time is right.
Let's hope that time comes soon.
Alright, so we finished up the Tal'Darim line. There were just the 2 missions there. And we're going to put off the Purifier line again and go to Ravenscar to wrap up the Mobius line.
The Tal'Darim and Alarak have joined our fight, but we cannot strike against Ire until Amon's armies have been brought low. Mobius Corps is overseeing Amon's hybrid production lab. I will not let this continue. We will go to Ravenscar and destroy the station before Amon can create more of these abominations.
Hierarch, as ordered, my Dark Templar have tracked Mobius Corps to their base within the asteroid belt of Ravenscar.
Well done. Karax, what do you know of their defenses?
The asteroid field is highly volatile and guards the base's outer rim. The Spear of Adun will not be able to pass. However, our carriers could strike at the heart of the facility.
We will set a course at once. Amon has taken away my armies. So shall I take away his. Ready our ships for assault.
Hierarch, Mobius Corps' vessels are not moving into attack position.
Something isn't right.
Our shielding has been punctured. I'm detecting Terran cloak signatures on the lower decks, heading toward the bridge.
Templar, to me! We will not let the Spear of Adun fall! Karax, we cannot let this assault interfere with our plan. Mobius Corps will not expect a counterattack. Though you are not a warrior, you know their defenses better than any other. I entrust this task to you, Facesmith. Lead our carriers against the facility, while my warriors hold here.
As you command, Hierarch.
With our ship boarded, I need our best warriors here. I know you are not trained for battle, Facesmith, but with your tactical expertise, you can destroy this facility. Go now, with my full faith behind you.
The Mobius facility. As we suspected, this is where Amon's hybrid armies are born. The operation is fueled by 3 power cores. Destroying them will destabilize the facility and allow us to annihilate the remaining structure. If I establish our nexus point on the outer edge of the platform, the Templar can fight their way in. But there are no ground paths and few minerals. Fortunately, our carriers are ready now. With their help, I might have a chance. This platform has been locked by Mobius security protocols. They cannot be too difficult to decipher. If I gain access, I should be able to move the platform to areas with additional minerals. Well, At least there's enough resources here to get started.
Okay, so Templar's Charge, you either love or hate this mission. It's a very unique mechanic and layout. It's also a very tedious mission.
On the wings of justice. The skies limit.
The shadow.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
I stalk through the stars.
The time is now. Prepare to engage.
So the good news is you start out with 3 of the new unit, the Carrier, which is a great unit. And you also get 2 Phoenix, which is decent. The bad news is resources on this map are incredibly limited. You only have a little bit that you can mine where you're at here, and then pretty soon you'll be able to move this platform around, and you can get at new resource locations like new mineral fields and Vespine geysers, but they just don't give you that much. In fact, one of the achievements is called the Ultimate Answer, and that's to pick up 42 resource pallets, you know, just little bits of minerals or gas that are lying around, like these things here that I'm queuing up my stalker to go and get. So it's a very resource limited map.
It is done. I have access to the controls. The platform is operational. These navigational controls in the upper right of the command display will allow me to move it toward additional resources. The enemy will not be far, though. I should send some ships to scout ahead before we relocate.
Okay, so in the upper right, you see the directional keys. That'll allow you to move the platform around to get to new areas of the map, which we're going to need to do, because see, the Vespine geysers are already depleted here, the minerals are about to be done, etc. So you see, the reason I made a stalker is so that I can blink across some of these platforms and pick up some of these pallets, because carriers aren't going to be able to collect the resources on the pallets.
I am detecting several banshees approaching our nexus.
Amon has awoken. We sleep no more.
We are ready.
Mineral field depleted.
The time is now. The battle is won. Now,
Base is under attack. Mineral field depleted.
awaiting the call. Justice is served.
Carax, we are having difficulty repelling the hybrid on the Spear of Doom. Have you located their stasis chambers?
My scans show 2 chambers nearby. They appear to run on solarite. We could use it more than ever.
Let us proceed. Nakbaru. Zarathru.
Mineral field depleted.
Carrier.
So you get the idea. You can kind of inch along, clear out a little spot, use a stalker to blink over and pick up resource pallets, and that'll augment your few resources that you get wherever you're at on the platform. And then once you've kind of done what you can, you gotta move the platform to a new location and do it all over again. And the whole while you have the main objective of destroy the 3 power cores, and the bonus objectives of destroy the 2 hybrid stasis chambers. Now, because of the limited resources, you have to be very careful about what you build and what you buy by way of upgrades. If you tried to just sort of, I'm going to build some Immortals for when we need land units, or some Dark Templar, and then I'm going to augment that with some Void Rays. You know, if you try to like balance it up and just get all sophisticated, you're not going to have enough resources to, you know, do everything you need to do, and you won't be able to complete the mission. So because resources are so limited, one thing you definitely don't want to do is lose units unnecessarily like I just did with that Stalker. Now, Stalkers don't cost that much, so it's not that great a loss, and I can make another one. And he was just there to collect, but you get the idea. This mission is very unforgiving. For example, when the attack came to my base, I used Solar Lance to take care of it, not my carriers, because why even bother? I mean, if you lose a carrier, it's like a very serious loss of resources that you can't replace on this map, you know. So you have to be very slow, very cautious, and because of that, it's a very tedious mission.
Upgrade complete.
Okay, so with the next platform area cleared out, you see I just hit the up button, and then that moved the platform up. And now my probes can get back to work, and we can sort of start the process over again and build up. And speaking of probes, I don't know if you noticed, I think you start with 6, I'm not sure, but I only made 2 probes. You know, ordinarily you just keep making probes until you're saturated. It's another part of this mission that's just very odd, you know, very different than all the other missions. You just don't want to make a bunch of probes because it's not necessary. They don't have anything to go and do. So that was unfortunate. If I had placed my carriers more over near the Nexus, I probably wouldn't have lost one. But I was just about to use Solar Lance, and then I realized, oh, these guys are going to die. So I'm just going to have to eat the carrier, and, you know, that's part of it. I mean, you can't not lose units on this mission. It's just, it's very harsh when you do, so you really, really try not to.
We are poised for victory. The time is now. Agreed. Azul. Victory awaits. Justice is served. The time is now.
Upgrade complete.
Some experiments should never be done.
Justice is served. Prepare to endure. You require my skills. We are ready.
Base is under attack. Upgrade complete. Vespene geyser exhausted.
Okay, so inching along nicely. We got our upgrades complete here, and we've lost a few carriers, but we're replacing them and building up, so we're doing pretty good. As for the carrier unit itself, you may have noticed a little dash bar above the unit. It's kind of brown in color. It looks like a health bar, but kind of brown. That represents how many interceptors they have ready to go, and the interceptors are like the little spaceships that launch off of them and go and fly around and shoot stuff. They look like little bugs to me, but that's what they are, because, you know, it's like an aircraft carrier. They launch these little ships and then they go out and attack stuff.
Power core is destroyed. Mobius core energy reserves dropping to 66%.
Excellent work, Phase Smith. Press on.
Victory awaits.
State thy bidding.
Okay, so one power core down, and one of the hybrid stasis chambers destroyed, so it's kind of slow progress, but we are making progress. And as for attacks on our base, the Solar Lance is just kicking ass, just single-handedly, defending our base. And you see here, I know we lost a couple along the way, but we only have 6 carriers. Now, they're fully upgraded, but you can do quite a bit with not too many carriers. If you move them, smartly, if you position them smartly, if you micro them well and get them out of danger when you need to. And you may be wondering, well, what about Void Rays? You've been going on about Void Rays. They're the answer for everything. You can do Void Rays on this mission, and Void Rays are always awesome whenever you use them. But what I found is they just don't have enough hit points, and it's very hard to micro them and keep them alive. So the carrier really is the best choice for this mission. They can take a few hits, and then you can move them out and micro them to safety, etc., etc. And with such limited resources, if you try to make a bunch of, say, Void Rays, or even more Phoenix for air support, and then, a few hits come at them and they're gone, and then now those resources are gone, you're better off just putting the resources into carriers and, slowly going around the map. I think that's what was intended, and that's pretty much what works the best.
Mineral field depleted. Mineral field depleted.
So you see there on that Vespene extractor how it kind of turned gold and it has those little hex bubbles bubbling out from it. You may have seen that happen on carriers and whatnot. That's the reconstruction beam, our new Spear of Adun ability that is healing mechanical units and structures. So it comes in very handy on this mission.
Let us proceed. We are poised for victory. Mineral field depleted. Battle's won. Barrier. Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Cold is
Justice is served. We have left the enemy. Barrier has arrived. To victory. Your warriors have engaged the enemy. To victory.
I am the heart of darkness.
So the other achievement for this mission is called Friends in High Places, and you have to kill 120 enemy units using carriers. Obviously that won't be a problem because all we're making are carriers. Now, as for the mission order and why I chose to come here immediately instead of going to Indion and pursuing the Purifier line, and this relates to carriers, is why I mention it now. This is the third mission in the Mobius line and the final in that line, and we did the first two very early on. In fact, immediately after Ire, recall we did Sky Shield and then Brothers in Arms. So this was the first opportunity we had to come here and wrap this line up. So that's always nice, just to sort of, you know, check these things off the list and clear them up. But the real reason, or rather the more the game reason and less the story reason, is to get carriers. It's not that carriers are just, oh my god, so amazing. It's just that Void Rays are so amazing. But what's more amazing than Void Rays are Void Rays with carriers, okay? I mean, Void Ray carrier is like the strat for pretty much every mission, and you're going to see it on a lot moving forward for the rest of the playthrough. In fact, it's so good that I had to go out of my way, and even like Sick Gamer on some of his strats, he goes out of his way to try to come up with something different just so the audience has a variety. It's just insane. You can literally do Carrier Void Ray the rest of the way for every single mission from here on out. So that's a good reason to go ahead and unlock the unit as soon as possible. So yeah, game-wise, that's why we came here
Time
first.
for battle. Let us proceed. We are poised for victory. The time is now. Agreed.
The hybrid chambers are gone, and their solarite is ours. That went better than I'd hoped.
Alright, so that'll do it for bonus objectives. Lost one carrier on that fight, which honestly isn't bad. Those fights are very hard. You saw both times how quickly they escalate, and everything just is like, bam, all on top of you, and hybrid and everything. So only losing one unit in those isn't bad at all. The rest of the way, we're just going to take our time, casually build up, collect resources, get a few more carriers in the mix, etc. Basically just what we've been doing. And it's very important not to bite off more than you can chew on this mission, because when you start losing everything you've built up, then it just all goes to waste.
To victory. In the name of Amon.
No, I will leave that to you.
Base is under attack. Engaging the enemy.
We are one with the shadows.
To victory. Your warriors have engaged. Battle is won. Prepare to engage. Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
The platform's power grid is nearly offline, Hierarch. There is only one more core.
Well done, Karax. The attacks on the ship have slowed.
Alright, so just the one left, and you know, this mission kind of reminds me of Maw the Void from Wings of Liberty. You remember that one where we got battle cruisers and we were out in space? It was the last artifact mission, and there were those rip fields, and I mean, we don't have the rip fields, and it's a much smaller map, but it's similar in that you get the big spaceship and you have to like go really slow and the resources are really limited, you know, and it kind of reminds me of that mission in that regard, that you just can't rush it. You have to really be cautious and careful.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy. Time is now. Prepare to engage. Barrier has arrived. Prepare to engage.
I am the voice of the eclipse.
Awaiting the call. Agreed. Battle is won. Justice is served. We have met the enemy. To victory. The battle is won. Justice is served. Time is now. We have met the enemy. Your warriors have engaged the enemy. To victory. us proceed. Agreed.
So at this point, I really started regretting stopping at the last platform stop and doing this long-range resource gathering. You know, things are still coming in, but it's just taking too long. I'd like to continue to make a few more carriers, build up our force, but it's funny, just you wouldn't think, oh, it's just a little bit of distance they have to travel, no big deal, right? It really slows things down. So it's not that big a deal, but it did make this longer. It's already a slow, tedious mission, so I apologize that I hadn't thought of that ahead of time. Meanwhile, I'm just going to, you know, work with what I got and head out with these carriers and continue to use our Spear of Adun abilities and just chip away at the enemy. It is pretty frustrating, though, because you're like, oh, I just have the one more. Why don't I just charge in there, pop shield overcharge, and get this thing done? Well, you can really, really easily wipe. So we have to continue to be slow and steady, Devatron.
I am the heart of darkness.
The time is now. Prepare to engage. Justice is served. Your warriors have engaged the enemy. is now. Your warriors have engaged the enemy. Geyser exhausted. Justice is served. We have met the enemy.
Mobius Corps battle cruisers are warping away from the Spear of Adun.
Yes, I believe I have found them. It is no matter. We will not be deterred. The final power core has been destroyed. We must strike now. Hierarch, is the Spear of Adun secure?
Yes, we repelled the invaders before they could reach the Solar Core. Our weapon systems are yours to command.
It was my honor to serve. Fire!
Oh yeah. Big time. Templar's charge. That'll wrap up the Mobius missions. With achievements. Not bad. It took us a while, but we got her done, Devatron. This is StarCraft 2. Legacy of the Void. We will see you in the next episode.